Welcome to class tonight. I do hope you all are doing very well. Tonight we're going to be expanding our understanding of something that is very basic. We've already learned a great deal about greater than, less than, and equal to. Okay? We've already learned that. We're going to be adding several new ideas to this understanding. We're going to be learning two new symbols. You can see those on the board right there. And then working on applying these two new symbols. Let's go and get started. Now the first thing I need to emphasize is that an equality is something like this. X equals 3. Okay? That's an equality. It's x equals 3. It's the same thing. It uses the equal sign, so it's an equal. An inequality is anything that does not use an equal sign. So for example, x is less than 3. That's an example of an inequality. Okay, so this right here is an inequality. Now I have actually there are 5 different types of inequalities. Now you already know greater than and less than. You guys have worked since 3rd grade at least on greater than and less than. I've also introduced the not equal to sign. Okay, so not equal to, that should not be a new thing for you as well. The two new ones are going to be greater than or equal to, and then less than or equal to. Now, let me go and explain these. Mathematicians simply said, sometimes I need to include the number. See, greater than is going to be, so if I put x is greater than 3, that means that x is not 3. It's not 3. But if I use greater than or equal to, it can be 3 or another number, or a number bigger than 3. So x is greater than or equal to, so it includes 3. So mathematicians are actually cheating a little bit. Instead of just saying greater than or less than, they're combining equal to with greater than and less than. And now you see the symbol right here. I just put a line underneath my greater than and less than symbols. Okay? So those are the basic symbols right there. Now let's go ahead and apply these things. Okay? So first of all, the first question, you must take less than 10 seconds to cross the field. So I see less than 10 seconds. Now, if I take 10 seconds, I'll get caught. I can't take 10 seconds. So it must be less than 10 seconds. So I'm going to put time for time. So time must be less than 10 seconds. It can't include 10 seconds. It must be less than 10 seconds. Okay? Let's do one more. Most skydivers jump from an altitude of 14,500 feet or less. And this is key. Write an inequality to express the altitude from which most skydivers jump. Now the key is, they can jump from 14,500 feet, or they can jump from less than 14,500 feet. So it can include 14,500 feet. So it's going to look like this. So I'm going to put A for altitude is going to be less than or equal to 14,500 feet. Okay? So it can include 14,000 feet. So it can jump from 14,000 feet, or they can jump from less. And so this inequality symbolizes 14,000 feet or less. Alright, the next step is to take these and graph these inequalities. Okay? Now the nice thing is, we have a number line, so all we're going to do is use the number line to draw lines on it. Now with inequalities, the basic idea is this. With a greater than or less than, you're going to use an open circle. With greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to, this symbol right here, you're going to use a closed circle. Let me explain the thought. An open circle represents, it cannot be this number, but can be any other number. A closed circle represents, it includes this number. For example, x is greater than negative 3. So I find negative 3, but it cannot be negative 3. So I'm going to circle it and then put my arrow there. X is greater than negative 3. It cannot include negative 3, so that's why I put an open circle, but it can be anything bigger than negative 3. So my line symbolizes right here negative 3. I'm going to do this in red to make sure it show up a little better. There we go. Alright. Next one, x is less than or equal to 0. So now here, it could be 0. So I'm going to fill in my circle. It could be 0, but it is less than or equal to 0. So I'm going to draw my line like that. So those are the first two graphs. Now let's kind of do it backwards. I've given you the graph, and now let's go ahead and make an inequality from that graph. So the first one, I see a closed circle, and I see a closed circle, and it's pointing at less than. So we're going to look like this. So I'll put x is going to be less than or equal to, because it can include -1. It can include -1 right there. So the x is less than or equal to -1. Next one, right here, I have I have a closed circle, so it's going to include, so it's going to be equal to as well. So it's going to be greater than or equal to. So so x is greater than or equal to 4. Because I have a closed circle, I'm going to put equal to. Closed circle, put equal to. If I had an open circle, I would put less than or greater than, and that's it. Okay. All right, let's apply it a couple more ways. Now we're going to take some words and make inequalities from those words. So the first one, Karen rode her scooter more than 2 miles. Now, it's not saying 2 miles or more, it's saying more than 2 miles. So it's greater than 2 miles. So we're going to put K for Karen, greater than 2 miles. And it's going to look like this. Open circle, line that way. Greater than, open circle, line that way. Okay? Let's do a couple more. The temperature was 3 degrees or less. So we can include 3 degrees this time. So we're going to put T for temperature, 3 degrees. I can include 3 degrees or less. So it's going to be T is less than or equal to 3. Okay, so my graph is going to look like, and I'll make it a little bigger, graph's going to look like this. Last one. Linda spent at least 2 hours studying. So she could have spent 2 hours, but she also could have spent more than 2 hours. So it's going to look like this. Linda, it's my L, spent 2 hours or more studying. So that is my inequality for the last application, and this one should be extremely easy. Okay? A person must be at least 48 inches to ride a certain roller coaster. Write an inequality to represent this requirement. I'm going to pause right there, and we're going to come back to the rest of it. So the first says, write an inequality to represent this requirement. So it must be at least 48 inches. Must be at least 48 inches. So that means we're going to say must be, so it can be 48 or greater than. So it's going to be person greater than or equal to 48 inches. It must be true. They must be 48 inches or they can be higher. So greater than or equal to 48. That's the first part. So that's the inequality to express this requirement. Next part. Now we're going to get the second part here. Who of the following people can ride the roller coaster? So Sally is 48 inches and 48 and 1/2 inches tall. So she is a yes, because she is 48 inches, she's good. Dean is 48 inches tall exactly. So he is good. He can go on the roller coaster. Kelsey is 46 3/4. 46 3/4 is less than 48. It does not equal, or it does not satisfy this requirement. Okay, I can't put that in there. So this one, unfortunately, Kelsey cannot ride. Poor Kelsey. But good news, Sally and Dean can. All right, that is a lot. I understand this. Okay, that is the lesson. The keys are going to be knowing the two new symbols, greater than or equal to and less than or equal to, and then graphing the two. Remember, we use an open circle for greater than or less than. We use a closed circle for greater than or equal to and less than or equal to. Your homework tonight is going to be page 603, 4 through 14. Once again, page 603, 4 through 14. Have a great night. We'll see you all tomorrow.